the human body's amazing. It's a self-healing, self-regulating organism. If you think about it, a sperm and an egg came together and formed you and me, in just a 9-month period. Well, what we're learning these days is that the body can heal itself. And I think we've been in I don't know if we call it a crisis, but a mindset that our body is a machine. And we're going to try to fix that machine by giving it things, by operating on it and doing surgery on it. But now the mindset has changed, and something I've been talking about for years. The body has the ability to heal itself. And with regenerative medicine, where all these tremendous new things we're learning, the stem cells and all that, all this stuff's coming to fruition. So my passion and purpose is to educate people on that.
Hi friends, welcome to the New Normal Big Life podcast. We bring you natural and integrative health information and stories about nature that we hope will inspire you to get outside and adventure, along with a step-by-step plan to help you practice what you've learned, create your own new normal, and live the biggest life you can dream. I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, the Wellness Warrior. Let's get into today's topic. Dr. Lauria, welcome to New Normal Big Life. Why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and the one big idea you want to leave everyone with as you talk about your expertise today?
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here and share today. It's really my purpose and what's driven me that the human body is amazing. It's a self-healing, self-regulating organism. If you think about it, a sperm and an egg came together and formed you and me. In just a 9-month period. Well, what we're learning these days is that the body can heal itself. And I think we've been in I don't know if we call it a crisis, but a mindset that our body is a machine. And we're going to try to fix that machine by giving it things, by operating on it and doing surgery on it. But now the mindset has changed, and something I've been talking about for years. The body has the ability to heal itself. And with regenerative medicine, where all these tremendous new things we're learning with stem cells and all that, all this stuff's coming to fruition. So my passion and purpose is to educate people on that and help make this change.
I'm very excited for this conversation. And, you come from a legacy of this type of healing work. Tell us about how you grew up in your father's practice, watching him work.
Yeah, my dad was a chiropractor for 47 years. He graduated chiropractic school in 1950. So, in my early childhood, I literally would go into his office and hide under his desk as he was talking to patients and things like that. We were raised in a holistic household. There wasn't, a medicine cabinet. There wasn't anything like that. So this is something that's been ingrained in me. I'm now 59 years old. So it's been ingrained in me for my whole life too. But it was amazing to see what he did with people, and when he talked about this stuff back then, you didn't talk about it back then. It was these type of healthcare practices and the things that we can freely talk about today weren't able to really be talked about back then.
That's very interesting because I too grew up in a holistic first household. We had great health insurance through my dad's work, but my mom always relied on natural methods first. And if that didn't work, then she took us to the doctor. On a side note, I'm going to preface my next question with this. We have a connection. I used to be an IT manager at UNC Chapel Hill,
Oh, wow.
where you had a baseball scholarship. And so I know that sports was a big part of your life. I don't know if it still is, but before pursuing your doctorate, you were in this athletic program. Did that impact what kind of practice you have today at all?
Yeah, I mean, I was injured my sophomore year at UNC. And it was, when you're on scholarship at a Division I program, you're kind of like their property. So I was driven through the medical model with that, I was taking Motrin and doing all these things. And I don't know, it went for months. And finally my dad said, oh, hold on, we're going to call a guy down there who's a chiropractor. And I kind of couldn't tell anybody, but I started seeing him and I was back on the field a short time later. So that I always thought I wanted to get into this, but that kind of really drove it forward once I saw that doctor down there. and saw the power of it for an athletic type thing.
I really respect a doctor that has some experience that's similar to his patients. I know that when I needed my shoulder repaired, I told my doctor that I needed him to repair my shoulder so that I could continue whitewater kayaking in the mountains of the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. And he said, "So let me get this straight. You are like a minor league baseball player, and you want me to restore your shoulder to minor league competition with the ability to go into the majors." And I said, "You've got it. That's exactly it." And then he told me, "Well, you came to the right person because I'm also a whitewater kayaker." And he did restore my shoulder to it's a brand new shoulder. And he did not replace my shoulder. He just replaced my tendons with artificial tendons. And I'm whitewater kayaking and bow hunting and all the things. So I really love that you have that experience of going from injury and seeing the benefit of the kind of work you're doing today. So at Roanoke
Well,
Disc Center, oh,
I
sorry,
was
go
going to
ahead.
tell you real quick, and 9 years ago, I herniated two discs in my back. So, I was posed, I couldn't even feel my left leg. And, I went through all the things we might talk about today with spinal decompression, laser therapy, and 9 years later, I'm doing fine. So I'm able to give patients that testimonial too, that literally I went through a lot of the things you're going through. So
Wow,
I
that's an
treated myself.
that's an incredibly powerful testimonial. So at Roanoke Disc Center, you specialize in non-surgical spinal decompression. What exactly is that?
So decompression is a treatment for degenerative disc disease. So you have a cushioning in between your vertebrae. Those discs can thin. Some people get diagnosed with bulging discs. Some people get diagnosed with herniated discs. What decompression is, and a lot of people think of traction, the old days when you see on the movies that have a guy laying in a hospital with weights coming off him. Decompression is a cyclical, what we call pumping of the disc. And it sets up a pressure gradient that will literally suck fluid and oxygen back into the disc and suck bulges, herniations back into the normal space again. So this is a treatment for the cause of the problem, to try to heal the disc problem. And when that happens, obviously the irritation, the pressure on the nerves it causes goes away.
So one of our dedicated listeners and wellness warriors is named Joe, and he submitted some questions around this topic today. And Joe, thank you for being such a faithful listener and supporting this show. We're dedicating this episode to you. Um, I was wondering, for conditions like herniated disc and degenerative disc disease, sciatica, and even in a situation like mine where I broke my back and I have arthritis from my neck to my coccyx and sacrum or tailbone, what kinds of therapies work for conditions like these? And what makes the type of treatment that you're giving a game changer?
So, first of all, Joe, not everybody's a candidate for spinal decompression treatment. So, that's why I do a detailed evaluation. We review MRIs, CT scans, and those type of things. So, you mentioned the word arthritis. If there's arthritic spurring due to your injuries that are pinching a nerve, decompression can't help you because, we can't pull bone off a nerve. The second thing, you've had fractures in your spine. Depending on how those fractures had heals depends on whether or not it's something that it can help you. So not everybody's a good candidate, but we have other therapies like class 4 laser therapy, something called vasopneumatic therapy, PRP injections, stem cells, those type of things can help someone in that type of case. If you have those things like you're talking about, it's a different protocol for those type of things. We're just trying to give you relief because some of those things are irreversible. There's some people we can tell them we can totally correct things, but depending on that exam and what your case looks like would allow me to develop a prognosis of what we could do for a person with your type of case.
Well, so for in Joe's case, what are some of the signs that he might make a good candidate? What would you look for in a person who makes a good candidate?
Well, First, let me tell you the immediate disqualifiers are if you have had surgery and there's metal in your spine. If there's acute fractures, you're not a candidate. Again, severe arthritic spurring, you're not a candidate. And this is for spinal decompression therapy. If you don't have full use of your arms and legs, you're not a candidate. If you've had cancer in your spine, you're not a candidate. So those are the first five things we talk to people about. Then the exam, we're looking, do you still have reflexes? Do you have muscle strength in your lower extremity? If there's a drop foot or something like that, those things will disqualify you also. And again, the review of MRI, if there's degenerative bulging discs, then those are things we can work with. So again, it's tough for me to answer something like Joe's question without examining them, without reviewing MRIs and those type of things. We just don't put everybody on the machine or the machines that I have. It's something that a detailed exam. And I tell everybody the key is getting a correct diagnosis. What exactly is causing your symptoms right now, Joe, is the key question. And that's something that a detailed exam will help us with.
If a person goes through spinal decompression, what's the recovery like? How long does the procedure generally take, and what's the recovery like?
So again, the treatment protocol and the amount of time is dependent on the examination, all the things I just talked about, the review of our MRI. Are we working on one disc? Are we working on two? Are we working on a bulge or herniation? So treatment protocols can run anywhere from 20 to 30 treatments. That's usually done at least 2, sometimes 3 days a week. Now, that gets you through the program, but one of the things people got to understand is there's healing time after that. I think part of our mindset in the world is we want a quick fix and we want to be back to what we're doing right away. But, post-treatment with exercises and stretching and just healing time after that can run up to 4 to 6 months till you're fully recovered from the treatment and from the changes that have gone on during the treatment.
Would a patient expect any amount of pain relief immediately after the treatment?
Yeah, I tell people to point to the third or fourth visit. So some people get off that machine and say, oh, I've needed that all along. Now, it's not just decompression treatment. There's other parts of the program we do to help people recover. We'll do post-treatment electric muscle stimulation. We'll do ice right after a treatment. And then the laser therapy, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute, is a great part in helping with that pain relief too. Then there's things we have people do at home to help them recover from the treatment too. It's not a painless treatment. This isn't laying on a table and gritting your teeth. It's a very light force technique designed to help the body to make the changes and heal on its own.
Quick heads up, wellness warriors. I don't let just anyone into this mic time. The only sponsors I ever bring on are products that I plan to use, personally use, swear by, and that have legitimately moved the needle on my health and my family's. No fluff, no fillers, no junk. So if you're serious about leveling up your energy, sleep, recovery, skin, whatever your goal is, do not bounce early. Stay to the very end of this episode. I'm dropping some of my absolute ride or die brands and exactly how they've helped me feel unstoppable. These aren't random ads. They're tools I stake my name on. You'll thank me later. Keep it locked. We're going all the way to the finish line together. Before we cover the next topic in this episode, I want to introduce you to the adventure sports lifestyle with a micro story about an adventure that I've had. The adventure sports lifestyle and my deep connection to nature is essential to my good health, so here's the story. It was a cold winter day out on a frozen lake in northern Colorado. Matt and I were ice fishing with my brand new St. Croix ice fishing rod, top of the line gear that I would cherish. It was a Christmas gift from Matthew. I made a rookie mistake. Using cold hands, I passed my rod over the hole, something you never do. You never pass your phone, or gear over an open hole because you just might drop it. And that's exactly what I did with my brand new fishing rod. I dropped it into 10 feet of water on a frozen lake. And it was the first time that I had ever used it. And it was, in my mind, gone forever. I'm not an overly emotional person, but I cried like a 4-year-old who just lost their favorite toy. And all around us, other anglers were laughing. I could even hear someone say, "That guy's going to have a bad day on the ice. Ha ha ha." It's funny now, but at the time it was not because I was sobbing like a 4-year-old. So much so that I didn't notice that Matt dropped his line into the lake into 10 feet of water. And within a minute or two, he fished out my brand new rod out of the lake. I saw the rod start to emerge out of the hole, reached in and grabbed it and started jumping and yelling, "You did it, you did it." And the whole lake erupted with cheers because everyone knew how difficult that was. Even St. Croix, when they saw the video online, celebrated Matthew because what he did was an absolute miracle on ice, if I could borrow a phrase from hockey. I hope this inspires you to get outside and adventure alone, with friends or family, and create your own memories. Now back to our show. That you're allowing the body to heal itself. This is so wonderful to hear because so often patients go in and their answer is, "Let's cut something out." And a lot of people don't want that anymore. So beyond the spine, you also treat pain with joint pain with integrative methods. Can you tell us about class 4 laser therapy?
So what class 4 laser is, and this can work on any joint in the body, is laser is sent into the tissue. It causes something called red blood cells to rush to the area. Red blood cells are what heals things in our body. If you cut your hand with a knife, red blood cells are going to rush to that area to help it heal. If a bone breaks, red blood cells are going to allow that bone to heal. So by stimulating that joint with laser, red blood cells are going to rush to that area and they're going to promote pain relief, decrease inflammation. But in certain cases, again, not everybody, it can stimulate cells within the joint to rebuild or re-lubricate the generated joint space.
So we've talked about regenerative medicine, and I'm not sure everyone knows what that means. Could you just kind of give us an overview of what exactly regenerative medicine means?
Yeah, so regenerative medicine is basically utilizing the body to help heal itself. And decompression does that. Class 4 laser does that. PRP shots, which is plasma-rich protein, which we use a lot, where they extract your blood, shoot the plasma back into a joint space. That's a form of regenerative medicine. And then now, the latest and greatest is the stem cells, where they're either pulling stem cells from your body or from embryonic tissue, and we're re-injecting stem cells into that area to help promote healing too. So it's utilizing the body's natural means to help promote healing and enhance healing on its own.
What excites you most about this regenerative medicine trend?
Well, again, the mindset's changing. 10, 15 years ago, everybody was just shooting for, what can I do to relieve my symptoms and living on over-the-counter medicines and drugs and shots and those type of things. This is stuff I've talked about for 30 years, but in the last 10 years, 15 years, I'm seeing the society change. I'm seeing the research behind it, and people are jumping into utilizing these type of things much more than they were 25, 30 years ago.
Wow, that's great. How can a person pay for these procedures? Are they often covered by insurance, or is there some other method?
Well, unfortunately, many of them are not. Insurance, I like to say, is crisis care or crisis insurance, meaning if you have a crisis, that's what your insurance is there for. So all these regenerative medicines, they are cash-based type things now. Now, some of the therapies we surround our treatments with, can be paid for by insurance, electric stim, those type of things, vasopneumatic therapy, those type of things. But the decompression, the laser, PRP, stem cells, those are going to be an out-of-pocket expense for people because insurance doesn't pay for regenerative medicine or those type of things. They'd pay 30, 40, $50,000 for you to go get a spinal surgery, but they won't pay for this stuff.
Are there any movements afoot to try and get the insurance companies to get on board with viewing regenerative treatments the same as they would surgical procedures?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of movement out there. Unfortunately, there's large lobbies against that movement through people who don't want them to use this type of treatment, right? Stem cells are used during surgeries, medical surgeries, knee replacements, all kinds of surgeries. They're using stem cells now as part of that healing for that. So we're seeing that the whole thing change some, but I don't know if it'll ever come to fruition with the current healthcare model in this country.
Looking ahead, what do you see for the future of non-surgical pain management?
I mean, again, being in it for 30 years, I was amazed 20 years ago when I started spinal decompression therapy. And then, 10 years ago, laser came about. You're just in amazement. And then, I found out about PRP because my son got a shot in his elbow. He was a pitcher. And that was like incredible to me. And now stem cell research is just another amazing thing. And I think as we grow and learn more about what the body does, because I don't think we've skimmed the surface of understanding the interaction of the brain, the nervous system, the immune system, and all that, and what can happen. I think the sky's the limit.
Some patients are using at-home practices like phototherapy mats and patches, infrared therapy, red light therapy, and other wavelength therapy. Do you use any of those in your practice, or do your patients use them at home?
Yeah, I mean, we do with our peripheral neuropathy patients. Due to diabetic or chemotherapy radiation, we do have a home care program that was built out by a company that I'm involved with. So put together the way it's put together, it's very beneficial. It helps those neuropathy patients. I would just use caution when you're doing those things. Again, part of our problem in this country is that we're looking for a quick fix and something to give us instantaneous relief. I tell all my patients the number one thing is to find out the cause of the problem first. So you can't use these home therapies just as a Band-Aid because some of them will help. A lot of times they won't help. And then you got to understand the research behind all these things. Is there research behind helping them? So that's part of the problem, or part of the problem with people is they see these things online, they buy them, and they don't even really understand what's causing their problem. So there's a lot of trouble out there with that.
So if a patient is thinking about some at-home therapies, is your best advice to talk to their practitioner first before going out and making a purchase? Or what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, with any practitioner, number one, you got to find out what the cause of your problem is, okay? Not just the symptoms, what's ultimately causing the problem. That's why I spend so much time with these people in the beginning to understand what's going on and one, determine if it can be treated with something I can do, or if not, I send them to where they need to go because there are people I can't help with these things. So yeah, understand what your symptoms are and find out what the cause of it is and act to find the cause. We're stuck in this model of, oh, I'm hurting, but maybe it'll go away. It's not that bad. It only hurts when I do this. And that's why we get stuck in a symptom-based society. When your body's giving you a symptom or a sign, it's a signal that something's wrong. And you need to find out what that signal is. And if you go to your PCP, whoever it is you need to talk to, you need to find out the cause of the problem.
That's really important information, Dr. Lauria, because I like to remind people that when you have pain, that's a piece of information from your body to say that something's wrong. And when you just mask the pain without investigating the reason for it, like you were saying, identifying the root cause, you're taking away this great information that your body was trying to give you so that you could have used that information. You could use it to track down the root cause of your symptoms.
Yeah, and you're not only, you said taking it away, and a lot of times you're just masking those symptoms, right?
Right.
And what happens if you continue to do that, whatever the cause of the problem is continuing to fester and get worse and worse and worse to where it does become a crisis. So any kind of symptom, identify it, accept it, and get someone to figure out what it is.
One of the things that I think my healthcare team did wrong for many years after I broke my back and had a traumatic brain injury was they told me to rest. And of course, rest and recovery is important. But essentially, they kept telling me, go home, lay down, sit down, put your feet up. And over time, it made me have to use a walker, a service dog, and a full time caregiver. So 20 medications later, all kinds of complications. I had to work to reverse the damage that allopathic care had caused in me. If I had known then what I know now, I would have worked on, well, not worked on, I would have maintained my already healthy lifestyle habits, which was a daily exercise program that include both strength training and yoga and Pilates, an at-home stretching routine, all of those things. My healthcare providers actually told me to stop doing them because you're making your problems worse, they said. And then I almost couldn't walk anymore without help. So I like to remind people of the importance of lifestyle changes. Do you have any lifestyle recommendations for people suffering with chronic pain?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, first of all, not only what it did to you physically, but the mental, emotional aspect of what you went through with losing all that
Yes.
stuff is devastating. So, um, yeah, I mean, we have people, again, 90% of them can is to stay active, to walk, to work on positive mental, emotional things and stay active in their community and those type of things. Part of what we do, and when you're in a degenerative chronic health condition, your muscles and your body will kind of guard you. So as we make these changes in a knee, in a back, in a shoulder, we have to kind of work with helping you to retrain the body and the muscles to support that area properly again. So being active and sticking to lifestyle things that bring positive energy to you is definitely part of what we do with the people. This is not something that we're telling people to sit at home. Motion brings health to the body, right? Increased blood flow, all those type of things. So you got to continue to stay active in those type of things for sure. And that's part of our program also with whatever we're treating.
And wellness warriors, I can tell you when I stopped listening to that stay at home and stay in bed model and I got outside and got active, I retrained my brain for things that require focus, like this conversation today with archery. And then I retrained my body and re-strengthened it and re-entered my community through whitewater kayaking. I first started using a walker, a service dog, and a full time caregiver sitting poolside, watching me learn how to kayak in a heated pool. 3 months later, I had ditched my walker. I was on moving water, kayaking with new friends, creating community. And I attribute a lot of that to my good health today. I'm not pain free, but I have well managed pain without medications. And I'm a sponsored adventure sports athlete.
Yeah, and that's, again, a lot of people get stuck with the doom of a diagnosis, right? And you got driven into that rut, and it takes you or anybody saying, you know what, there's things out there, and I'm going to commit to this and not sit in the bed because a lot of people are doing that. But a good number of conditions, can be helped with these type of things. And then you got to have the positive mindset to turn around and become invested and take responsibility for what you're going through, not only in a treatment setting, but your mental health, emotional health, and those type of things too.
Excellent advice. Dr. Lauria, how can patients in your area find you and find out what options you might have to offer them?
Yeah, so the biggest thing obviously is the website, and that's www.roanokedisccenter.com. I have a number of Facebook pages, Roanoke Back and Spine, Roanoke Knee Solutions. I got a page, Roanoke Peripheral Neuropathy, where I'm constantly posting things on there. I do weekly, not podcasts, but Facebook Lives where I'm on those educating people. I respond to any questions that are posted on any of those sites. And then we offer people to come into the office. And it's, even for questions and those type of things, they can email me if they got questions, concerns, want to run a treatment by that I might have heard of. If I can answer it, I'll answer questions like that too.
Oh, that's brilliant. I really like that. What more do you want to leave listeners with?
Again, it's your health is your responsibility. Okay. And we tend to, and people even do it with me, put me on a pedestal, or any doctor, and whatever he says, I'm going to do. Whatever you're diagnosed with, there's plenty of research out there. Again, know your sources when you're looking at research, but begin to educate yourselves, not only on if the doctor recommends a surgery, but what are my alternatives? And then, put them all together and run them by someone and try to make the best decision for you that's going to allow your body to heal and recover. Because typically it's not surgery, it's not medicine. Listen to what your symptoms are, find out the cause, and figure out your treatment option.
Dr. Lauria, this has been so insightful. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's been great. I enjoyed it too.
Magnesium, an unsung hero, fuels over 300 bodily reactions, from heart health to stress relief. Magnesium expert Natalie Girardo, founder of Rooted In, found freedom from anxiety, insomnia, and pain through topical magnesium. It transformed my life, she says, inspiring her mission to share this mineral's power. Cardiologist Dr. Jack Wolfson calls magnesium essential for heart health, helping regulate rhythms, blood sugar, and reduce inflammation. Up to 80% of people may be deficient, facing issues like depression, migraines, insomnia, or muscle cramps. For women over 40, magnesium eases menopause symptoms, boosts energy, and supports bones. Choosing the correct type of magnesium matters. Real stories, Natalie's and mine, highlight its impact. After interviewing magnesium expert Natalie Girardo, I became a customer. I was already a magnesium fan, having been told by 2 cardiologists to take magnesium for a minor heart arrhythmia. Natalie explains it best in the Magnesium, the Mineral Transforming Lives episode of New Normal Big Life podcast. Fast forward after the interview, I bought the Rooted In bundle for sleep, tranquility, and pain relief. As a spine injury survivor with several other health challenges, I'm in constant pain. However, I don't take any pain medication. Rooted In is now one more source that nature provided to give our bodies what it needs when it needs it. You can find magnesium in natural bodies of water like lakes and rivers and in soil. But modern farming practices have stripped magnesium out of the soil and our food. That's why today, Rooted In's rest, relief, and tranquility are part of our afternoon and nightly sleep routine. My guy who did 2 tours kicking indoors in Iraq with the Marines now has no trouble falling asleep. I no longer have to take melatonin before bedtime to fall asleep. So after I became a customer and saw how well these products worked, I applied to become an affiliate. I've been sharing the secrets of Rooted In with friends and family from age 38 to 68, and everyone has gotten amazing results within minutes of applying the cream. Do something naturally good for yourself. Get Rooted In. Click my affiliate link in the episode description to shop now. When you're planning an adventure camping, rafting, RVing, or mountaineering, you'll need quality food with sufficient vitamins, minerals, and nutrients to fuel your adventure. My partner, Ready Hour, is here to help you ahead of time. Ready Hour has a long history of providing calorie-rich, reliable, and delicious nourishment for life's unexpected situations and adventures. They're part of a family of companies that have served millions of people like you for decades. My family and I use Ready Hour products for camping, mountaineering, and disaster preparedness for 5 years now. They're not just reliable, they're also your affordable option too. Long-term storable food shouldn't break the bank. That's why they have great sales and payment options for you. It's your bridge to safety and survival when you're on an adventure. So make your next decision your smartest decision. Be ready for adventure tomorrow, today. Trust Ready Hour. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link in the show description.
The information in this podcast is not medical advice and should not be treated as such. Always consult your physician or healthcare professional before pursuing any health-related procedure or activity.